What up, you guys? It's your boy Jay. No time for preambles. We have a long ass video ahead of us because, man, this is the biggest stack of comics that I have gotten all month. And yeah, there are some great books in here, and I can't wait to talk about them. So, welcome to this brand new episode of Comic Chaser. As always, per usual with these review videos, spoilers ahead for all the books that I'm covering, and don't forget to tell me what you guys thought about these books if you've picked them up in the comments down below, as always. So, we're going to do this as we usually do and do it kind of countdown style. Not really in just because I cover a book first doesn't mean the book is bad. It just means it's, towards the bottom of the pile. But this whole stack was really solid. But trust me, if a book is bad, I will complain that it's bad. So, starting off, we have Deadpool and Wolverine. Issue number 3. And this is written by Benjamin Percy with art by Kasara. And Guro EX, I think, is how you say it. I don't know, the lowercase capital letter thing is really throwing me off. I really like the art. The art is really fun. I don't take this one super serious. This is more of just kind of a fun, popcorn, easy breezy action read. This feels way more like a 90s comic, especially because this involves strife and implicate the application of the techno-organic virus and techno-organic zombies, which look really fucking cool. The action in this is really great, and they're using some of my favorite classic 90s characters that are often forgotten, Maverick and shit like that. So it's cool. If you are a fan of just kind of classic action romps with, Logan and Deadpool, this is really fun. Percy, of course, he's old hat at writing Wolverine. He wrote Wolverine for a really long time in his solo series, and he wrote him in, Predator vs. Wolverine. He has Wolverine's voice down pat. And his Deadpool is really funny, but he doesn't, try too hard with Deadpool, which is a really easy kind of, fault to kind of slip into when writing Wade, but it's a nice balance, and the chemistry between Wolverine and Deadpool is really fun. Just them trying to figure out how Deadpool's sleeper agent trigger works just by repeatedly stabbing him is hilarious. I like this series. Again, it's just kind of a fun popcorn read. I don't really take it too seriously. It's not that deep, but I still enjoy it. Now, you want to talk about something that, actually, I do take seriously and is really, really interesting in terms of, a lore and mythological standpoint? We've got New Gods, written by Ram V and art by Kagel. Is it Kagel? I don't know how to pronounce it. I apologize if I mispronounced the name. This is issue number 4 of New Gods, and this is The Fall of New Genesis. So I really like the framing device of this series so far. It feels very epic and mythological, and obviously, if you know the lore behind Kirby's creation of the New Gods, it kind of stemmed from a Thor story he wanted to do. He was planning to do after Ragnarok with New Gods taking over, and this would be the creation of the fourth world, and you can definitely see the pieces of the Thor-esque DNA, the source being the Odin Force and shit like that. Ram V really did his homework, and that it really does feel at its core this big kind of epic tale. And it's also kind of just this classic save the Star Child, save the God Child super weapon story as well. but you also get to see kind of the creation of a New Genesis and like the first Mother Box, and we find out actually that the Mother Box is one of the remnants of the old gods. So like it's repurposed technology, and like we saw in the last issue that like the previous civilization of the third world, like those three brothers were the ones responsible for a lot of the weapons and such. And in fact, like one of the brothers was the one who created the child that would be either the salvation of New Genesis or its very destruction. um, I thought this was fun, and of course, we get a clash between Orion and um, Scott here, because Scott does manage to get the kid, but then Orion's like, "Well, brother, your 7 days are up," which I did not know, because again, I'm not like super familiar with the New Gods. I did not know time works differently on New Genesis. So like, it's only been a week on Earth, but it's been like several weeks on New Genesis. Like an entire like war theater has been set up, and like all this crazy stuff has been happening in terms of like the war on New Genesis against the like Nikrati people. I don't know how to pronounce the name of the opposing alien race, but it's really intense. But I love that like Scott knows exactly what button to press. Really, Orion? We're just gonna let this innocent child die, uh, you know, just for the sake of things, for efficiency. How does that make you any better than your father? And I'm just like, oh, you press the dark side button, and dark side ain't here. So, whoa, that's definitely going to be interesting. Like, you know, I've been wondering, like, what is Orion going to be like in a world that like dark side isn't around? Like, is he? Because he's supposed to be like a universal constant. So, like, is Orion going to end up like filling that void temporarily? Because he has that bit of dark side in him, and those like bits of rage and anger that we see. So, like, is that going to happen? Is that going to come to pass? Who knows? But I'm really interested, and I just love the dynamic of Scott and Barda. They're just super cute, and I love seeing them together. Uh, Barda is great, and Oberon is just really funny. Overall, Rom V, I have been really digging this New God series, and again, I have no like prior experience with them whatsoever, except for like in I want to say it was either middle school or high school. Whenever Final Crisis came out, I want to say that was middle school for me, because that was like 2005, 2006. Uh, that was my first real introduction to the New Gods. Grant Morrison just threw all that New God shit at us with Boss Darkseid and all that other shit. So like, not familiar with them at all, aside from like the bits and pieces I've seen in like animation and different animated series and stuff. So like, this has been a great introduction, and I've really gotten sucked into the lore, especially because I love like stuff like mythology, and this definitely at its core is a like a modern mythological kind of telling, and I really dig it. And the art is absolutely gorgeous, by the way. Like, if I forget to say that, like, fantastic. Like, knocks it right out of the park. All right, this series, man. As of recording this video, news has just showed up on the Daredevil Born Again show in episode 4. Spoilers for episode 4, like the very end. We actually get to see Muse for the first time, and that was dope. So, perfect timing here. This is Daredevil Unleash Hell, issue number 3, written by Erica Schultz, with art by Jose Luis Suarez and Vincento Paniti. I apologize if I mispronounced the name. I'm really bad at pronunciation. But this continues the Muse story, and it really kind of goes into how Muse works. Because if you're familiar with Muse from like the Charles Soule run of Daredevil, you know that spoilers for that run, I guess, that he died, and that he's essentially like come back from hell, and like taken on this young artist college student as his like apprentice slash vessel, and it's very similar to like Ghost Rider, but like not in the Zarathos kind of way, more so in the Robbie Reyes kind of way. If you've read Robbie Reyes' Ghost Rider, you know that Robbie's spirit of vengeance isn't really a spirit of vengeance, it's the spirit of his like satanic serial killer uncle that is his Ghost Rider essentially. And that's basically what's the deal with Muse. Like Muse essentially possesses the body of this artist Morgan, and it gives her enhanced strength, speed, durability, all the usual superpower grab bag stuff, and like you know just this intense, just psychopathic rage, and it is wild. Like the action in here is top notch. It's really fun, and the fact that like I was like, oh man, I'm really getting Ghost Rider vibes from this. The fact that Ghost Rider actually shows up in this, we get to see my man Johnny Blaze. Like at the very end, I was like, oh damn it, why did it have to end here? I cannot wait for next month, man. Ooh, Daredevil Ghost Rider team up. And it's the Ghost Rider I actually like, although I love Robbie. Robbie's a great Ghost Rider. I think Danny is kind of a loser. If you've ever read Danny Catch a Ghost Rider, you'll understand. But, man, I'm so excited to see Elektra team up with Johnny Blaze. Like, when the issue ended how it ended, I was like, oh, shit. But then it's like, you see Johnny appear because, what is the Ghost Rider's domain if not hell? So, shit, here we go. And Elektra literally getting to fight her demons, because, this whole miniseries has been about her kind of dealing with her past and confronting it or, being afraid of it in a way. So, yeah, the metaphor is on the nose, but it's still a cool metaphor because we'll get some dope-ass action out of it. I really enjoyed this series. I've really enjoyed this series so far, and this issue was really great. But man, oh man, I can't wait for next issue because Ghost Rider's showing up, and I am so hyped. Now, next up, we have One World Under Doom, issue number 2, written by Ryan North and art by R.B. Silva. So, I like this issue a lot. This issue is mostly Victor explaining his reasoning and kind of like giving justifications to why he rules in the way he rules and how he's made the world better. And of course, there are real world parallels that we're not really going to talk about here because it always gets messy when you talk politics in YouTube comments. But one thing that I want to highlight that I find just really fascinating is what Doom really kind of hits on here is that these people that support Doom aren't just these evil people that are supporting a fascist. These are just normal, regular people who are kind of sick and tired of their governments kind of pushing them around and spinning their wheels and not really doing what they've been elected to do. And so, when you have somebody as effective as Doom getting shit done and actually doing what he says he's going to do, as opposed to every other politician you've ever seen in the world who's made big promises but never delivered, yeah, no shit, he's going to gain a lot of supporters. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, if I was in the Marvel Universe, I'd probably be waving the Doom flag, too. To be honest, the only thing that kind of pissed me off here is that, the heroes are not learning their lessons. They keep just kind of doing the same shit. They're like, let's just go punch Doom. It works all the time. If it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing. And it's just guys, you tried this in the first issue. You've tried this in the Fantastic Four tie-in thing. Why are we doing this again? Y'all, it's not going to work. And, it was just so frustrating because it's just guys, you're the Fantastic Four. You can come up with a better plan than let's punch him real hard. And man, Doom curing Ben. I know it's something that, has been done a million times before. It's not anything new, but just the smug satisfaction on his face was just beautiful. Now, obviously, we know this isn't permanent because the Thing has its own series coming out soon. So, like, duh. But I'm definitely interested to see how that impacts Ben and his character moving forward. Like, is Ben going to become a, Doom supporter? It feels so weird to say it like that. But yeah, this series has been really interesting. And again, the dialogue between Valeria and Doom is just really fascinating, just to see the back and forth, and just it being a actual civil conversation was really nice. And like it just really gets to show the slightly softer side of Doom, not necessarily like a more sympathetic side, but like you get to see the love and care that Doom does have for his goddaughter, and it's really sweet. I honestly like it melted my heart a little bit. I really enjoyed this issue. Now I'm still kind of iffy on the art. Like everything that involves the Fantastic Four looks fine, but when we get to the stuff with the Avengers, like sometimes like the faces in the background aren't even drawn, and like how some of the character faces just look off, dude. It's weird. No disrespect to RB Silva, like your Fantastic Four stuff is awesome, but everything else is kind of just like I'm kind of like meh about it. But overall, really good issue. I mean, I don't know how this is gonna last for 9 issues. Like they keep jumping to mind control, like the Avengers. They assume, oh, it's mind control. It's got to be mind control. That's too easy, guys. Like think outside the box. Like he's Sorcerer freaking Supreme. He's definitely done something other than just basic bitch mind control. Like figure it out, guys. I believe in you, but we'll see how it goes. All right, so moving on, we get to Psylocke issue number 5. This is written by Allison Wong, and it does not give me credits on this cover because it's a variant, but I love this cover. This is the end of the taxidermist arc, and this was fucking great. I really enjoyed this. This really kind of hammers home like Kwanon finding a balance between like the X-Man she is and the weapon she was trained to be by the Hand. And man, the taxidermist was a really fun villain. Like he gave me some real like Ed Gein type vibes, being obsessed with like preserving Psylocke, and like preserving the weak and fragile, and just kind of his overall philosophy was just really interesting and fucking twisted. I thought it was dope. This series is great. Kwannon is a character that we don't get to see much of because her history is so weird, complicated, and tangled up. But like this series actually gets to address it. So, like, I'm glad we get to know more of her, and she's really interesting. And it looks like we're going to be dealing with a lot of that like tangled up psychic mess in this next arc with the cliffhanger that we leave off on. So I'm definitely intrigued. I've been really enjoying all the solo X-Men titles I've been reading, like out of the ones that I have on my pull. And speaking of solo X-Men titles, we have Magik issue number 3, and this is written by I don't remember the first name, but Alan, and art by Hernan Peralta, and man, this book was fun. We really get to kind of see the kind of parallels between Magik and Liminal. They are very similar characters. They're both, they were both young children that were kind of forced against their will into these like demonic deals. Whereas Ileana was able to find hope and like claw her way out of limbo and fight back those dark forces. Liminal more so embraced it and kind of just let that become who they are as a person, which is why Liminal is so obsessed with Magik, letting out the dark child and, embracing her true self, quote unquote. If you are a fan of Magik or a fan of the New Mutants, you need to be reading this series because this, you can tell the writer did their homework on Ileana as a character. It really is a nice love letter to the character's history, and it's awesome. Like, I'll go ahead and spoil it because I always talk spoilers in these reviews anyway. This issue ends with Danny Moonstar showing up at the very end. Danny Moonstar, leader of the New Mutants, the classic New Mutants team. I'm so excited. I have been waiting for some kind of Magik New Mutants reunion for a long time. That's one of the reasons I wanted to pick up this series, because I miss Magik interacting with her old New Mutants friends. And I saw Monet in the Scarlet Witch series. She kind of appeared now and then because she's dating Quicksilver. I wanted to know where the rest of them were, and getting to see Ileana and Danny again is going to be so much fun. I can't wait for next issue. I've really enjoyed this series. If you like Magik, you definitely, or you were a fan of the New Mutants back in the day, you should definitely pick up this series. It's definitely worth a read. All right, next up we have Ultimate X-Men issue number 13, written and drawn by Peach Momoko. This is the not culmination, but this is where Kageyama really gets to flex as the Shadow King, and he's puppeting Dark Armor, and basically the rest of her friends have to fight her off, and it is super intense. Holy shit. And the stuff Hisako says, yeah, she's under the possession of Kageyama, so it's not really her, but the way it's delivered, man, it definitely comes from a real place at the very least. And dude, it gets really intense. That's all I can really say. I know I'm being super vague, but it's really hard to review Ultimate X-Men because so much happens, but it's also just kind of really self-contained, which is why I can understand people not being as into this, because this feels like it's kind of just in its own world. It doesn't really feel like it's part of the Ultimate Universe. But honestly, I kind of like this section of the world. And at the very end, we get to see what appears to be the ultimate version of Professor X. So, very interesting. I'm curious about that. And I'm also curious because, the art and colors were different during the fight with Kageyama and Dark Armor against the rest of her friends. So, was that to signify that her and Kageyama were in the tank this whole time and they were fighting on the astral plane? Or is it something else? I don't know. I guess we'll find out soon, but I'm still really enjoying Ultimate X-Men. All right. Moving on, we have Zatana issue number 2. I got the Russell Dodderman variant cover. This is written and drawn by Jamal Campbell. This issue was great. If you liked Justice League Dark, especially the series that involved Wonder Woman and Detective Chimp, this feels like it could slide. This adventure could slide right into that because we get to see Bobo, the Oblivion Bar, Blue Devil, and stuff like that as Zatana is dealing with the Lady in White and her allies and other demons. And also Zatana is constantly dealing with this sword that she was stabbed with, that is messing with her magic. And so the big mystery that's going all throughout is what is this sword? What is it doing? How the fuck do I get rid of it? And it's really interesting. How it messes with Zatana's powers is super fascinating. But man, oh man, is this book beautiful. from the colors to the art. I love even the different style changes between certain locations. Oh my god, this book is pretty. But the story itself is still really engaging, and I can't wait to see more. This is honestly one of my favorite books to look forward to. It's always at the top, near the top of my pile, when it comes out, because like Zatana is one of my favorite characters. This is just a fun adventure, and my god, is this book gorgeous. Absolutely loved it. Speaking of absolutes, let's talk about Absolute Flash, issue number 1. Written by Jeff Lemire with art by Nick Robles. Yo. The Absolute Universe has not missed yet. It has not missed. I really like this. You know what this reminds me of? This take on Flash, feels more like a Hulk story, because you have Wally, whose father is connected to the military. He's on this military base. He ends up getting caught in this lab explosion, supposedly, which seemingly is what gives him the Speed Force powers. It's like, oh shit, this feels like a Hulk story, and he's being chased down by a team of mercenaries who look very familiar. One who is being referred to as Captain, and someone who uses boomerangs as a primary weapon. I wonder who they could be. Yeah, the rogues look fucking dope. And the fact that it looks like, Wally's first major villain that he's going to be dealing with is Mirror Master. I've always liked Mirror Master. I thought he was super underrated in terms of the rogues. And Captain Cold and Heatwave always get the most love because of the Flash TV show. But Mirror Master's freaking great. So I can't wait to see what Lemire's take on this is. And if you like Lemire and his writing tropes, you'll be really into this. He's really good at writing these strained, realistic, but still loving family dynamics. And you really see that in the relationship between Wally and Colonel West, his father. You saw it in Sweet Tooth, if you read Sweet Tooth, and of course if you read Animal Man, the Baker family and their entire dynamic was a big thing throughout Lemire's whole run. So, it's definitely in here, and Lemire just knocks it out of the park. I really enjoyed this. Absolute Flash issue number 1 is great. Definitely worth adding to your pull if you were on the fence about it. I really enjoyed it. And last but certainly not least, my favorite book of the week. Are you surprised? Are you surprised at all? It's Absolute Batman, issue number 6. Zoo Part 6. Written by Scott Snyder. Art by Nick Dragotta. My god, every time I think this series can't get any better, it just does. The first panel, man, he reveals his secret identity to most of his friends. This changes everything. So are they now not going to be his villains anymore? Is this going to be what causes the strain that turns some of them into his villains? It's so interesting, because, this Batman is much more reliant on other people. Not that, main universe Batman isn't reliant on other people. Obviously, he has the Bat family, and he had, people like Alfred, but, this Batman is, much quicker to, actually reach out and be like, hey, I need your help with this, because, he just doesn't have the resources, and it's really interesting. And I also love seeing the relationship between Bruce and Martha. Martha is such a well-written character. For the longest time, she's just a face we see get shot in an alley. But, here she has personality, she has fight. You really get to see that her and Thomas were the ones that really built that unstoppable tenaciousness that is the core of Batman's character. And it's great. I love it. And I also just really enjoy the parallel of, Bruce and Martha's, healthy, loving relationship where they're there for each other, juxtaposed to Alfred and Julia's clearly strained relationship that they have. And I can't wait to see more of that drama. That feels really juicy. And Julia was a creation of Scott Snyder's from Batman and Robin Eternal. Feels like everybody else forgot about Julia, so much so that they didn't even invite her to Alfred's funeral. I'm still angry about that, DC. But yeah, this is fucking awesome. Nothing more that I can say. The action was great. I just enjoyed the reactions of like Bruce's friends to finding out. I wish we could have lingered on that a little bit more, but like I understand we got to keep the pace moving, nice and brisk. So totally get it. Uh, my only complaint: we didn't really get any animal facts in no bat facts in this issue. Scott, are you slipping, man? I was looking for it. I did not see any bat facts. Maybe like the thing about the screech was the bat fact, but personally, I didn't see it. Overall, though, fantastic book. If you happen to be watching this, Scott Snyder, like, welcome back to Batman, dude. You are writing this with like such energy and enthusiasm. It bleeds through the page, and it is great. I am really enjoying this. Like, as a Batman fan, I'm eating good. I really like Zdarsky's run, and this is fucking awesome. So that is pretty much it. Thank you for sticking around for this massive 30-minute uh, review video. But hopefully next week will be a much smaller pile. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to tell me what you guys thought about any of these comics that I covered or anything that was on your pull list. If you have anything to recommend that you would like to see me cover, definitely tell me in the comments down below as well. And don't forget to do all the usual YouTube things, like the video, and make sure to also subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss any other videos. Of course, I do Comic Chaser every week, and we do brand new episodes of the Channel Chasers podcast where we cover, various different movies and TV shows on the channel as well. Coming up, we'll be talking about Invincible Season 3, so be on the lookout for that. But until next time, guys, this has been Jay, and I hope you've enjoyed this shot of pop culture, and I hope that this Comic Chaser has helped you out as well. Until next time, I'll catch you later. Peace.